Where is it? Here it is. So, we're gonna watch. No, you guys are gonna hear Premi to Remy, like the Sonic Ranger news, and say they learned all their mistakes from 4. We're gonna listen to this because you wanna know why? Let's listen. Let's listen. Let's listen.
All right, so we have just gotten to that point of the, I guess, not year or
By the
month,
way,
but like that
swearing
point of the
alert.
Sonic game cycle where Azuka says some shit, okay, and he is really saying the shit today, and oh, we gotta talk about this. So
Don't
ever
trust him
since
on it.
after Sonic Central, when we got that little Sonic Rangers CGI teaser, no gameplay, Izuka has been hellbent on going on a serious interview run. He's been doing all sorts of interviews, talk about Colors Ultimate, Origins, and even Rangers. Obviously, still calling it Sonic 2022 because Rangers is the leak title and it's not officially confirmed. And even if it was the real title, they could still change it just to say, oh, we don't want it to be the same as the leak title anymore. We're changing it. But I'm not saying they're gonna change it. The point is, he's been going on a huge interview run to basically say things about Sonic Rangers without actually saying anything significant, right? And we'll throw in these little tidbits here and there to, like, I guess try and keep us wet. I don't know, like, what he's trying to do. Like, I feel like in Azuka's brain, he feels like saying things about Rangers is like a substitute for gameplay because they don't have gameplay they're willing to show. If we just say little things without really saying anything, then it's almost like gameplay. Like that one scene in Skins where Cassie, like, plays with her food and cuts it around and moves it around in the plate to make it seem like she's eating while she's actually just talking, and then leaves the house without actually eating anything because she was anorexic. And you guys don't get the reference, and this is going somewhere completely.
Vader Zim? I think I do.
Sonic, it just seems like he's waffling, basically. Nonetheless, we're gonna have to talk about this. These things always come up, and I see them always come up.
Yowzers!
Bring this up and say, let's not get our hopes up.
Gonna get in trouble for that.
So we go to Twitter. I don't know how to pronounce that. So, a Sonic fan, or she, or they, I don't know. And they obviously speak Japanese and English, and they've been able to translate some kind of interview that is could be for the Japanese audience.
I hope they're okay.
Translate some interview about Sonic 2022 Title Rangers.
Oh no!
For Mitsu, some interest you made. Tell us more about Sonic 2022 title, Daddy Zook. Many fans ask about what title comes next after Sonic Forces. We've shown that teaser to fans. That means we're working on a lot currently. Well, now, too. You see the images there. I'm not going to really go too much into that because it's in Japanese, but I'll show it on the screen. For those of you who understand Japanese on the video itself, Daddy Zook says, we've learned all our mistakes and we evolve on that. So now our team developing new game deliberately and slowly. So now naturally, a lot of Sonic fans are going, oh
yes.
That's it. That's what we wanted to hear. Rejoice,
Nope.
rejoice, Sonic safe. On a minute. It's never as simple as you think. Let's get into this. Before we fully delve into what he's saying, I just want to remind people that showing is always more important. Saying that you've learned your mistakes is one thing, but actually acting is the real thing that shows that you've learned your mistakes. If you do something stupid and you apologize to someone and, you know, say I've learned my mistakes, and then tomorrow you're doing the same stupid thing, next time you apologize, I'm not going to take you seriously, right? And usually every time there's a new game, they say something along the lines of, yeah, we fucked up last time, we've learned our mistakes, and we're going to fix it this time, right? And then what happens? A bunch of mid-gamers like off the generation, lost big hit from Sonic. Lost World, we got Boom, which wasn't Sonic Team. Yeah! Forces, we got Team Up for Racing, which wasn't horrible, but wasn't great either. My point is, they're always saying this shit. It's called marketing. Gameplay marketing.
They added DLC characters like Classic Team, which they did in the freaking mobile version.
But I'm not here just to say that. Okay, yes, seeing your gameplay is cool.
Come on!
Major problem the problem here is that he doesn't clarify anything. How can you say you've learned your mistakes and you don't even tell us what those mistakes are?
Right.
He kind of
He's right.
describe what he thinks the mistakes are because he says our team is developing the new game deliberately and which insinuates that he believes the mistake is that he's been making games undeliberately or fast, making them too fast, rushing them out, which, yes, you could argue that's a mistake, but personally, I'd argue that's not the biggest mistake they've made in recent years. You could say that with a game like 06 or Generations. 06 was rushed because it wasn't as polished as it should have been. Generations was rushed because it had a very small amount of content, even though the content we got was good, right? But that's not the major problem that I think people have with Forces. I mean, yes, Forces did feel very budget for a game that, while it took 4 years to come out, kind of only worked on it for a year. They were, you know, in Hawaii for 3 years apparently. but it being budget was not its major issue. There were bigger issues than that, because we've seen time and time again that people have made great games fast and with smaller budgets, and it's been proven. Like, let's give an example of a game that you lot seem to love so much, Sonic Colors. A game that is loved so much by fans that they're apparently willing to witch hunt me for not smiling and singing along to Reach for the Stars and Speak for Your Heart during a symphony, even though it's not one of my favorite songs. It's almost like we have music references. Oh, wait, no. Those don't exist in the song.
You gotta go easy.
Anyway, back to the Wish game. They started developing that in
It does, just gotta throw
came
some
out
money,
late
you know.
2010, and it was
Just
a
ignore
hit,
them.
right? It was successful. It did something that apparently people like. Not me, but it did something. And a lot of other games, like Sonic Adventure 2 came out only
And
2 years after Sonic Adventure came out in the West. Like, we've seen time and time again that games can be a bit rushed or slightly less polished than it should have been, and the game still ends up good because the core gameplay is good. So when I hear Zuka say, oh, we've learned our problems and now we're taking our time with the game, it's like, cool, you're taking your time, but I could take my time to make a shit sandwich, and it's still gonna be a shit sandwich, no matter how precisely I cut up the shit to make sure it lines up with the bread and doesn't stick out the sides. You know how annoying it is when you go like the meat sticking out the sides too much, and so I just fit it within the bread. You know, my point is, taking your time doing what is what I'm trying to say. The problems that we had with Forces go way beyond budget, alright? I just played the demo for Spark the Electric Jester 3, which is a 3D game made by Lake Fedwood and the sequel to obviously Spark 1 and 2. Spark 2 is another one. I streamed Spark 2 and I made a video on it on my non-Sonic channel in the description. And if you love Adventure 1, I would highly recommend playing Spark 2. And Spark 3 is now adding rail grinding to the mix as well.
Oh, it's
So
literally
that's gonna have
3D.
some Adventure 2 influence in that.
I remember the
I'll
first
upload
one was
a video of my
2D.
reaction to the Spark 3 demo on the non-Sonic channel, by the way. It's already recorded, it's just not out yet. But the point is, that is a game made by one person, and you can bet your bottom dollar that the budget that they had was still smaller than the budget they had for Forces. So how are they making a game that's more fun?
Now, let's see if we
Add, get away.
So again, back to core gameplay. What Izuka needs to be saying is that he's learned the real mistakes of Forces and he's working on those. Not the budget, not the rushing or anything.
I love the classic
Core
Sonic and
issue that
all
we had
Fireman.
with
Yeah, I like
Forces.
classic.
And honestly, with the majority of 2010 Sonic, in my opinion, is that they are babying the games, right? Not just from a story standpoint. We know Colors had a very babyish story, but from a gameplay standpoint, they have been making the games more and more babyish. They've been making it easier to run. They've been adding all sorts of automation elements. Like you were able to drift in Generations, Unleashed, even Colors, and then in Forces now it's not drift that does it for you. A lot of the avatars swinging things that does it for you. Even staying in the middle of the path that you're going through, the game tends to do it for you. There is so much scripting in Forces. Even the QTEs are basic as fuck. Most of them don't even kill you. And some of them give you like fucking 5-10 seconds to do them, and it's just pressing one button. The levels are so ridiculously short, which you could argue is a budget issue, but I would disagree because if you compare the length of Forces to the length of one team in Heroes, which is my favorite song, it's about the same. But Heroes has 14 levels and 7 bosses per team. Forces was 30 levels, that's including bosses. 21 versus 30. So they just said, okay, we're gonna have less levels, but make them each individually a good amount of content, a good amount of length, I think in a good length. Whereas the Forces are like, we're gonna have 30 things, and then they're all gonna be short as fuck. Also, it helps the heroes have way more environments. Just have 5 good heroes and over abundance of TV. But the point is, my biggest problem with Izuka has always been babying the player. And he says it in interviews, so I know that's how he believes he wants the franchise to be, right? You can say he made games before the Meta era that didn't do that.
building the
When he
future
took
of
the
Lego
mantle,
City,
which was after
one
Unleashed,
brick at
he
a
decided what he wanted for the franchise and he gave it to us. He made the games easier, he made the games more scripted. The Wisps are more of a cringy thing. Like, I don't like Wisps because they're cringe. It's not because they're mechanically horrible. Like, you can make a challenging game that still has Wisps in it and it will still be a fun, challenging game. As much as the sight of Wisps would make me cringe, I could at least admit the gameplay would be good, right? Like, my favorite level in Generations is Modern Planet Wisp. You probably don't know that about me. But when it comes to Izuka's philosophy of, I wanted to make this thing easier, in interviews for Team Sonic Racing, Izuka literally said he designed the game in a way to make it easier because one person basically carried a team and they could play with their kids and they would talk and whatnot. Like, his goal is to have no one struggle to persevere and overcome challenge in a video game ever again. And as long as he doesn't learn that is a problem, he's going to alienate a lot of Sonic fans, especially the older ones, because the younger ones, they're growing up with it, they're going to play it and enjoy it. But if you want to retain fans instead of just always getting newer, younger fans and then pissing off the older ones until they, get upset and leave because they feel like the franchise isn't for them, then you have to learn to do what Nintendo does, which is have that balance. I've got nieces and nephews who aren't even of the age of 10 who are playing Mario, and I'm almost 26, and I can still play Mario. Like, that's amazing that you can get two different generations like that. There's people older than me who've been playing Mario since when it first came out. That is amazing. But with Sonic, it always feels like fans just get alienated and left out. Like, that's mad as fuck in the 2000s, while I was happy as fuck. I was getting the games I wanted. They could have done more in the 2000s to help the classic fans stay invested. I guess they eventually caved with Sonic 4, which was 2010, I believe.
Oh. Alright, Sonic 4 Episode 2 is a good game, but it's not a good Sonic. It does not deserve the rate of Sonic 4. That shit deserves to be Sonic Advance 4.
Long-time fans while trying to make these easier experiences for new fans. If Iizuka cannot figure out how to add accessibility options and difficulty options in a game without sacrificing the challenge for everyone else, then I'm sorry, then you're just gonna keep making the same mistake over and over again. Various other AAA companies have figured this out. They figured out how to make piss easy modes, casual modes for just experiencing the story of a game without having any real challenge, while still having challenging modes. This has been a problem with movies as well. You got movies that are kids movies, and you got movies that anyone can enjoy, like families can enjoy, but also kids can enjoy.
Really go
The
for it,
difference between those two is that kids movies are usually shit movies that you loved when you were a kid and you got older and went, actually that was shit. And movies that families can enjoy and also kids are usually movies that have little hidden references for the adults and an underlying, more in-depth plot going on, while the kids can still enjoy it.
Or teenagers at this modern
on the
age.
surface level. And that's a balance that many are not able to strike, especially not as well as Pixar does. But I shouldn't. If you cannot strike that balance between getting the Sonic fans who want challenge and getting the Sonic fans who don't want challenge to love and appreciate the same game, then you're gonna keep struggling. And I think that's the thing that Iizuka needs to say that he's learned. He needs to say that he's learned that it's not all about how easy can we make this and how accessible can we make this. It's about how can we challenge the players who want to be challenged, which is a lot of the hardcore fan base, while still being accessible enough that other people can try it. And as much as I want to hope that Iizuka has figured that out, every time I see an interview with him talking about gameplay and upcoming games, even with Carlos Ultimate, with its live stream with a mandatory tailsave added to what was already an easy game, it's clear that Iizuka has.
Nah, I struggled
So
on
my
that
advice
game a
is
bit.
don't take this interview too seriously. It's just a bunch of words. We will see for sure what has actually happened once we get this Rangers gameplay, most likely somewhere in early 2022. But anyway, man, yeah. Those are my thoughts on the Iizuka interview. Let me know what you guys think about what Iizuka had to say. Do you believe what he's talking about? Do you think he actually understands the fundamental issues that we've been having with Sonic in recent years? Or do you think he just sees one little thing out of the major amount of problems, which is the fact that games feel sometimes rushed and too much? But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Make sure to check out the
Alright. I guess. That was just... We're just gonna YouTube and chill for a bit. Yeah. Law of attraction, that's why you should stay positive. Just say, oh, you know you're gonna get a good game. Oh, let's just have a chill stream. Let's watch. Let's have a chill day.
Welcome back to Chaotix Plus. The next
Chaotix Rings and Dark Rings. How to expand the Sonic lore. Let's just have a chill day. Come on, let's.
Merry Chaotix. Now, so far, I've gone over all the characters and then some when it comes to Knuckles Chaotix. And yes, I do still have to cover the game itself, and I apologize for the delay on that, but that's turning out to be a video. But there was always a topic I wanted to cover ever since I came with the idea.
I should spend more time in the
Something that's
countryside.
kind of stuck in the back of my mind since I've originally played Knuckles Chaotix. I got this game with the understanding that this was about Knuckles the Echidna, Guard, Master Emerald. But if you play the game, then you know there are 0 emeralds to be and have instead are rings. Now, those are nothing new to the world of Sonic, or even Knuckles, but Chaotix is just obsessed with the things. You of
I
course
guess
have your
even
standard
astronauts
rings
need
to
to come into
collect,
town
all while holding a
sometimes.
ring that tethers you to a partner character with
What's
their
up?
own ring, and this forms the central mechanic of the game, the tether. You also have giant rings hidden within levels, but there are also giant rings at the end of levels that lead you to more rings. Even the shields of this game look like rings, and Robotnik has swapped out little critters that usually power his badniks with, you guessed it, rings. And not just the little guys. I'm also talking about the boss encounters and even Metal Sonic Kai. Rings, 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 all the way down. Said that word so much already, it's not making any kind of sense. So yeah, I was a little confused as a kid, and I was hoping that the story and instruction manual would at least shed some light, but that just brought up even more questions. You see, in the American manual, the story of the chaos takes place before the grand opening of Carnival Island, and Dr. Robotnik is gunning for this island's power emerald, which provides electricity for all the rides in the facility. Knuckles, as the guardian of Carnival Island, patrols its perimeters to make sure the opening goes off without a hitch. But while patrolling the far off section of the island, Robotnik swoops in and captures all of his friends with a combo device. Knuckles learns that he can free one friend at a time with a magical ring tether. From there, they set off to
Police
Carnival
business.
Hello there! The Sonic storytelling was a little loosey-goosey.
Sorry, police business.
Is that different from the Master Emerald, Super Emeralds, Chaos Emeralds? It's just outside the stupid matter. That side, what is even doing here? He's patrolling Carnival Island. He's the guardian of Angel Island and the Master Emerald. Not some party security guard who takes his job way too seriously. He doesn't even do it properly. Everything goes to pot the moment he takes his eyes off the place. Also, apparently, this isolated loner has all these friends we're just now being made aware of. Clearly, Sega of America was not super concerned about the story. It wasn't a major deal back then, and you could argue it's still a major deal now.
I have forces.
In the manual. And it's not like anything in the game itself really contradicts these paragraphs outside of the lack of the power. Yeah, as and that never shows up in the game proper. And if
Think
you
it means
actually
Master
like the
Emerald.
justification for the ring tether, this actually would explain why Knuckles wouldn't even bother working together. I have no idea what that job at the library. Effects of the comic capture. The magical effects of the slave rings. And while it makes absolutely no sense why Knuckles would leave one island to protect the theme park on a different island, this at least makes sense to the resort-style settings of Chaos. We smudge the details just a little bit. The RG adaptation of the story, as much fun as I had making fun of all the wiki elements of that thing, do make the setting a little more feasible. In that canon, this is an amusement park that was built on Angel Island that Knuckles didn't agree to. But since this version of the floating island has a little more involvement with the goings-on with Mobius, and Knuckles is not on the island, it's not really up to him if this place is built or not. This is just make sure that nothing sinister is going down. This also retroactively makes sense of Carnival Night Zone if you're following the logic of Archie. But that's as far as I'm willing to go in terms
What's
of
up?
the American rendition of the Chaos story. While there are little elements that I actually like and would love to see further expanded upon, the original Japanese sounds much more engaging. On top of that, brings up some very interesting ideas. The Master Emerald might not be present in this game. As it turns out, everything that happens in Chaotix is a direct result of the
Where I left that.
the original Japanese story. This is indeed a separate island from Knuckles' home turf, but this is not called Carnival Island. In fact, it's not called anything. This is a brand spanking new landmass. And that's all thanks to the Death Egg pinning Angel Island down for a good majority of the Sonic 3 adventure. The Emerald's powers affected the planet once it hit the ocean. It rise to
My
a line,
boss
and
would
they also
live
established
on
that
land.
each
What's
Chaotix
up?
arrived here on their own accord for their own reasons. Knuckles specifically arrives because he was concerned that this
Sorry, it's an emergency. Uh-oh.
Hey!
That is a word that was created by someone who does not completely understand the English language. Keep wanting to call it Neutronic. That sounds way cooler. Anyway, yeah, Eggman arrives for his own purposes. Goes to inspect the place and comes across a giant special ring with rings similar from the ancient writing to the So he builds Neutronic to take full advantage of this new source of power. seen as active as Master Emerald activated
Me didn't in colors.
in some way. Special zones created by those rings, the residual energy of the Master Emerald and its altered form to the Chaos Rings. I am relying on translations here, so if I am misinterpreting anything, I do apologize. Whenever I look online, they describe the Chaos Rings forming from Master Emerald pillar energy, and I would assume the pillars would be the altar on which the Emerald resides. At first, just reading about the Chaos Rings in the past, I assumed that they had formed as solidified residual Master Emerald energy that caused the island to rise. That added wrinkle of Eggman discovering ancient rings like the ones found on the island, which, if you remember, was what Sonic found on a beach that kicked off Sonic 3's story. That leads me to believe it's possible that Angel Island had landed in a spot where Knuckles people once existed on the planet below, reawakening the power of these long-forgotten rings. Maybe Angel Island stays stationary in the same spot in the sky. Maybe Knuckles people were just all over the place. And it's possible that some of this was retconned a little bit with Sonic Adventure, or maybe none of this contradicts that story. However we got to this brand new island and Chaos Rings, we at least know for sure that this is the direct result of the Master Emerald. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the only time we learn of the connection between the rings and the emeralds.
Alright, that was boring. Here we go.
Of the Sonic games, but I will get into that connection in just a little bit. I first want to talk about the other set of rings I found super interesting, the Dark Rings. These are, quite simply, artificial rings manufactured by Eggman that uses to power his robots, including the upgraded Metal Sonic Cop.
Hey!
And I like the idea of emphasizing that normal rings are a natural occurrence and dark rings are a manufactured product. Considering Chaos Rings were originally referred to as holy rings at one point during production, I wonder if that particular dynamic was played around with the story. I mean, later on they would establish with a negative chaos. Sonic X and Sonic Adventure 2 showed off manufactured emeralds that can still react on some level similar to the real deal. They don't really dive deeper than that, and I know the rings were originally created just to have some sort of differentiation from Mario's. What's going on? Whether they intentionally did this or not, they did create a very interesting world that is worth digging a little deeper into. The rings being a natural phenomenon makes perfect sense to me.
Where did they
As
come
Sonic
from?
Speed, I don't really need a creator myth to expand upon them. This is a world full of loops and chaotic rings. It makes sense that rings would form from
Oh man, it's wrecked!
and Sonic being a creature that evolved to adapt to this environment also makes sense to me. But beyond that, Eggman trying to break down, understand, and harness this power seems a very interesting threat. And I like that this particular idea is still a continuation of Sonic 3 in some way. All that time with the Emerald, all that time with those rings, he has finally created rings of his
My
own.
boss
and can
will be
power up
livid
an
if I'm
already
late
deadly
again.
robot in ways we haven't seen before. Metal Sonic transforms into
That
a
Sonic
deadly
Mania
robot
Plus.
after Eggman infuses the power of a ring into him. I just think the Dark Rings are unusual and an idea worth exploring, but so are the other major loops in Chaotix, the Chaos Rings. Because it makes me wonder, are all rings born from emeralds, or is it just these Chaos Rings? I would assume that they are born exclusively from Master Emerald energy, as they take on multiple colors and don't act too dissimilarly from Chaos Emeralds. We do know that standard rings have some kind of a connection with emeralds already, thanks to acting as a power source for super forms, as well as functioning as a doorway into dimensions where you can collect the emeralds.
With that
I don't know,
raise,
it's
I
all
think
super
I'm
cool,
more
and
than
it makes me think about all the other
I should
connections to all these other
exercise.
power sources. Like I've said already, the way I've always seen it, the emeralds and the rings are a natural occurrence in the world of Sonic. And we also know that people of ancient tribes have worshipped these emeralds. There may or may not be an actual spiritual element to it. With all the crazy demigods, I would assume that's the case. But I just don't think the story needs to end there. We have actually spent a great deal of time in the games detailing a bit of the history of Knuckles' people and their relation to the Master Emerald. But even with what we know about their destruction, and we do know that Chaos and his babysitter reside within the Master Emerald, we don't really have a
Not
proper answer
anymore,
as
do
to
they?
why the island is sitting in the sky. We just know for sure that the Master Emerald keeps it afloat. Now, Sonic Adventure did establish that without chaos present within the gem, that will apparently throw things off too. But even with that element involved, all of this makes me feel like there is still a lot of compelling stories worth diving into when it comes to the Sonic game universe.
Adventure.
The true purpose of Angel Island is the
I
Master
feel like I want to get this out of the way for no reason. I feel like Adventure has a better story than Adventure 2. like, for one, Adventure is just so lore heavy. I just like it more. No offense.
Just too powerful to sit on the planet below? Clearly it has a reaction to it. And with all the sets of emeralds, I've always found it strange that the Master Emerald, despite its name, is the only one of its set. Which is
I
weird
love
when you
ice
consider that Angel Island isn't the only floating landmass in the skies above Sonic's world.
Lost
What
Hex.
about Emerald Planet, Babylon Garden, Lost Hex? What mysteries still hide in the clouds? What stories and adventures await? I would certainly love to find out. And all those thoughts just came from the Master Emerald's influence on Knuckles Chaotix. I just think it's incredibly neat that there is so much potential from all these little throwaway ideas that were brought in just for this game. Even if some stories contradict each other, with a little hard work and creativity, there's something we can merge some of these elements together. And Sonic Team certainly isn't afraid of a retcon here and there. And I do still like some of those smaller elements that were brought in from the American side of things, like the explanation of the ring test. I think you can easily roll that into a grander tale that's inspired from the Japanese side of things. And if done well, if Sonic Team ever wanted to get back into bigger stories and wanted to be a little more bold with detailing the actual world of Sonic the Hedgehog, well, we certainly have a lot of ideas worth looking into. But maybe let's first start with an actual name for the planet. That's going to be it for today, guys. Gotta get back to work on the Chaotix video. So until next time, stay
That is
safe.
really. See, Metal Knuckles, the most underutilized character. I'm curious. We're just binging this stream today. Well, technically, you guys are audioing it. I'm just chilling, watching.
The Mecca March Madness. Every week in March, we're going to cover a metal Mad Lab from the Sonic universe. And as any Sonic fan will tell you, there are a whole lot of robots to cover.
Lord.
So expect this to be an annual thing going forward. But for now, I have been waiting forever to dedicate a video about today's subject.
I need to get
I
home.
remember my time as a child with Sonic R, and I still remember the curiosity that sparked inside me when I first took a look at the mysterious empty portraits on the right-hand side of the character select screen. Back then, the Gamecast was still relatively small, and while I had an obvious option with Metal Sonic, I wasn't sure who these other characters could be. Little did I know that this would be the first, and so far only time, someone
is that
utilized one of the most
smell?
obvious yet coolest characters in the world of Sonic the Hedgehog. Ladies and gents, it is my honor, it is my privilege to introduce you to the most underutilized Sonic character, Metal Knuckles. Yes, I know I'm kicking off everything with Metal Knuckles and not Metal Sonic. You know who he is. We'll get to him. Whatever. I want to talk about this more. Now, like I said, this was an obvious robot to put together. We had an iconic doppelganger for Sonic. Knuckles was a cool new rival character, and the obvious next step was to combine that chocolate and that peanut butter to create a creaky death machine. It's a second video in a row I'm making a racist joke.
Where
about.
now put it?
Now, you'd think this would be obvious, right? The Metal Doppelganger thing wasn't
Think of
it
the
first
Family
time
Guy.
around? Well, the comics certainly took advantage of that particular idea.
Oh, yeah, I saw him in the
With
comics.
their own interpretations of the robotic echidna. And I would say both were utilized pretty well here in America.
Ooh, I could have a
In the
noodle.
UK, as with all robot models, this was yet another form of metallic. And while I usually dive into detail comic-wise with these character videos as a whole, for now I'm gonna hold off discussing these stories of these particular robots until we actually get to them when we cover that in Sonic Speed Reading. But I bring them up because they did not solve a problem I had as a child, as an aspiring artistic child in a way. And that simply was, how do you design a Metal Knuckles that falls more in line with Metal Sonic's design? How do you translate those iconic dreadlocks? Now, these two comic bots certainly had some pretty rad design elements. Those dreadlocks never really worked for me. They had that banded metal look you'd see in early 90s comics to represent biomechanical designs. And quick note I need to mention here while editing this video, I somehow got it in my head that Mecha Knuckles had the banded metal dreadlocks when he clearly doesn't, as you can see here. But that still kind of applies to his limbs. There were just some design elements that didn't fit with
Alright,
him
I'm
even
gonna stop the stream. I'm a bit bored. I want to call my friend, see what she's doing. See y'all later.